Hello everybody, welcome to another edition of our Transport Fever 2 playthrough. This is episode 15 of our Chicago Northwestern theme, and I've started off following this train. I'll pause it here so you can see. This is going to be kind of a cleanup episode because, as you can see, this train set is looking mighty old. This GP7 is certainly at its last legs. These boxcars are looking pretty aged, and if you look, if you pull up all of our stuff, we've got a lot of very bad trains that need some updating. So we're going to be doing a lot of that, today. That's going to be our main goal. Now, if you noticed, we've had a significant jump in time. We're in the year 2014 now, and that was on purpose because we kind of reached this time gap where a number of critical rolling stock and locomotive pieces weren't going to be available yet, and so we are near the end, right? There's only really a couple cities left that need to be truly need to be online, and so I wanted to go, and what I did was there wasn't actually a lot of game time that you missed, because what I did was, usually we're playing at like a quarter speed or half speed as far as how fast this calendar moves. I jacked it all the way up to 4 times speed. You can see just how fast the clock moves when you do that. So that's what I did to take us up, and then to save the monotony, I upgraded our vehicles, so our trucks and buses and things like because that is what's getting replaced. Let's see, we got a building shrinking into the ground, but a new one coming up. Um, I wanted to go ahead and do the train upgrades because I think again there's some cool new options that I want to show you that I think would be really fitting to have on there. All right, it's a pretty large commercial building going up, and then next episode, look at all this traffic. The other thing I did off camera to set this up is I added one more commuter line because there were 2 cities left that did not have any passenger rail access, and that was Memphis and that was Manchester down here. And so I set up a line. I had some assets to do SEPTA, which is another regional rail up along in the Northeast, and really quite fitting that it's coming out of Philadelphia. So now Philly is quite the hub, but notice it's a huge station. We don't have any warnings that we're losing passengers right now, so that's good. The other thing I want to address before we get to it is, last episode the frame rate was garbage, and unfortunately I didn't really catch that. Because if you don't use OBS, that's the software I use. When I'm looking at it in the game, it's crisp. Everything's flowing smooth. The animation's great. There's no problems. The issue is exclusively in the video that's being recorded of the screen and what I'm doing. And that's just my computer is 6 years old. It's it's starting to show its age a little bit. So I modified some settings to make it a little bit more manageable. I'm watching my second monitor right now, and it's still not very smooth as this train goes through the scene. So it is what it is, but I think it's just, as we've gotten to the end of the map and we have so many assets up, the GPU can only handle so much, and doing a full render of the game and OBS was just at its limit. So anyway, again, this is really going to be an upgrade episode because, I did a quick truck route to get food into Manchester. Manchester needs machines, and that's it. And then, Memphis is online. They're getting both of their things met. Costa Mesa has conmats, but it needs goods. And then St. Louis needs goods and machines. So there's really only 2 things left that we need to get online, right? Because we can have this goods factory serve St. Louis and Costa Mesa, and then we can have this machines factory serve St. Louis and up here, Manchester. So that'll be kind of the focus of our next episode, which I think will probably be our last full episode, and then we'll do kind of an epilogue episode, and then this build will be done. Which again, the main purpose of this channel is for my actual model railroad layout, my N-scale layout, but this has been kind of a nice side project as I've waited for all of the supplies to come in. So let's go ahead and get to work on upgrading some of our locomotives here. Now, one of the challenges we have, it's 2014, but again, the CNW at this point no longer exists, right? In 95, 96, Union Pacific acquired it, so there aren't a lot of modern assets. So I'll have to be mixing some SD40-2s with either having like 2 or 3 SD40-2s or mixing it with 4 in power to make it work, but we're going to do the best we can. So let's go ahead and start updating. Alright, so the first thing we've got on here is the Springfield Philly steel route. So let's go ahead and update this. Now it's only pulling about 100 out of it. We'll still do it. Alright, so, and you can see we've got some new, these are the new GEVOs. Basically what started to happen in the 2000s is they started to put out higher and higher emission expectations for locomotives, which forced updates to make sure that they're, compliant with the new environmental regulations. And so you've got these GEVOs, and then the other kind of main sets are the SD70s. Those are kind of the two common classes. So, but again, we're trying to keep the CNW, so we're going to have to use our tried and true workhorses and call it good there. So let's see, we were at capacity 220. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and replace and call it good. Maybe. Hit by the autosave. I even toned down the autosave to only do it once every 30 minutes. I clearly left the game idle for a while. That's okay. Alright, so that's good. Next up, Springfield ore. Alright, so same thing. We'll use the SD40-2s. Now we're using 12 gondolas. So 12, 18, so around 200. We do have a new asset that's available, which are these Bethgon, which are super fitting for what we're doing. We'll go ahead and slap UP on there, because, a little fitting for what actually happens to the CNW, so we're good there. Clearwater oil sand. Now this is down. Okay, so this was our Penn Central, which became Conrail, which became in 216. Okay, which then became a CSX. So let's go ahead. So we definitely can use some of our new assets on these. And slap a helper on there. Yeah, let's go ahead and reverse the helper, why not? Okay, and then I believe the Bethgons will work for these as well. Oil sands. Oh, nope, I'm looking at the gondolas. Slag sand, but not oil sand. Disappointing. Alright. Okay. And let's throw one more on for good measure. Okay, so we're upgraded there. Next up, let's see. Oh no. Did not mean, just cloned that. Did not mean to do that. Yeah, okay. Let's get rid of this guy. Let's go back to this guy. I meant to go in and edit. I wanted to see. Okay, so it's got a good power rating. 198 capacity. Yeah, this one we need to keep the gondolas because they're running sand but then picking up these construction materials. So, okay, so let's go ahead and we can have a little fun with this one. In that, let's go ahead and throw like a UP SD70 Ace on there. And then, yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let's do that. It's 304, so still smaller than our stations, so we're good there. Alright, Hartford oil run, we can easily just do the exact same thing as what it currently is. No need to change that up. And again, the reason why game mechanic wise it's important to do this is because when your vehicles are in very bad condition, they generate way more emissions than they otherwise would, and so it actually will lower your city's population capacity. And so that's really the main reason why I'm going through and doing this. And unfortunately, with the C&W stuff, you know, there's limited things that we can do, just because we don't have those modern locomotive variants. But we're coming up on some ones that we can do. Okay, cool. So here's the first kind of cool one we can do. We've got our Keystone Corridor sitting here looking. I mean, I do love the aging in this game. I think it's cool. I mean, these GG1s, there's absolutely no reason why GG1 should be operating in 2014. So let's go ahead and replace you. We do have some new options, namely the Siemens the City Sprinter series, right? So this is the most recent electric locomotive that has been put out for Amtrak. So let's go ahead and put these bad boys on, and we're going to put phase 6 coaches, 5, and let's go ahead and put a cab car on this one, so that way it can do reverse order, 126 capacity. And let's go ahead while we're here. Yeah, we've got this one. I want to replace this one too. Yeah. And we'll catch that one as well. Okay. So that looks pretty cool. And then yeah, when this runs in reverse, it'll run in reverse now because true to life, they've got these cab cars which allows them to do reverse operations. Some of them have cab cars in real life, some of them don't. And so then they'll have like an engine on the back. Okay. So, Clearwater, yeah, this one definitely needs an upgrade. It's still rocking a Penn Central GPC. Look how beat up that thing is. Okay, so this is just running fish down. So, what would be a decent, probably a GP38. And we need CSX, because we're on the CSX line. And I do have an asset. I wonder if it'll work on here. Yeah, reefer cars. Okay, very cool. And it takes fish. Okay, so current capacity is, let's see here, get it up to where it needs to be. Okay, oh, I think I doubled what it was. I thought for some reason it was 200. So let's trim that back down. And there we go. Much more reasonable. Okay. I just think those modern reefer cars look super cool. Alrighty, so let's see. What is next up on our list? Alright, Temecula or 1. So we can go ahead and just do, and even Temecula Coal 1, we can do all of these here at the same time. So this one again, I will do a little bit of foreign power because, so true to life, the last major thing that the Chicago Northwestern hauled, that really kind of extended its life a little longer than probably otherwise, was coal coming out of the Powder River Basin in Wyoming. But the problem was the CNW was so excuse me. The problem is the Northwestern was so short on capital, they couldn't actually build the line themselves, the full line. They actually had to enter into a partnership with the Union Pacific um, to basically hop on UP's line for a little while before getting on the C&W main line over in Iowa. And so it would make sense to have some UP power on this one. So we will definitely use the hoppers that we've already talked about. And let's see here. Let's get up to, yeah, one more should be fine. Okay. So get those four out of the way. All right, Temecula steel. That's another quick one because that's just kind of a short single product or single commodity line. So we'll just add this in. And I'm not even going to do the modern one. I'm just going to do, okay, so replace that. And I'm going to go ahead and replace these two at the same time as well because they both are doing forestry products, you know, one way or another. So let's go ahead and do that. And okay. And then these are both Grand Prairie sand conmats. Again, same thing. We're going to have to stick with the gondolas because we need to be able to bring the construction materials back. So let's go ahead and we'll do two. I think we're doing GP7s. So let's go ahead and do two SD42s. Help get our speed up because on some of these freights I've noticed that the speed is pretty low, which is really inhibiting our ability there. Okay, so we'll get those two replaced. Miramar Food is definitely another one where, well, first of all, we'll stick with the GP7s. Why not? They were still using them to the bitter end. But it's another food route, so let's go ahead and use our assets here. And we'll do, actually let's go into edit real fast. 120 capacity is where the route's at right now. So let's go ahead and do that. And a little larger, and I'm okay with that. Okay. Grand Prairie Goods is sitting very bad as well. And this is the one that we turned into auto racks, which is cool. I thought it'd be fun to modify this a little bit and do several different things that can carry products. So, you know, instead of doing 5 auto racks, what if we did an auto rack, like a box car, and then a intermodal, just to have a little variety there. Okay, so replace that one. Alright, Temecula slag conmats. We can go ahead and replace these two in one fell swoop. And I don't know why I have this pause still. Let's go ahead and keep this advancing. And looks like we're running 11 of those gondolas. Okay. Alright, looks like another Temecula coal just popped up. I'm going to have this one be completely foreign power, because again, you would on occasion see that. So let's go ahead and pump that in there. And then Union Pacific would make sense. Okay. Billings tools. Okay, so we've got the full setup going on here. Okay, so, and remember this, I need to rename that probably because it's not just the tools anymore, right? It's the, it's then running products back to Temecula. Oops. Okay, place you. Okay, and then The Flint shuttle, I think, only has... Yeah, it's got a smaller set, so let's... I can find it again. There we go. And... the four-wheel cars. Okay. Alright, now, if you look, the next big chunk... And we're not stopping just with the very bads, by the way, for reasons you're going to see in a minute. Okay, so the Peninsula 400, they're all very bad. They need replacing. Now, here's the deal. If we're being super... If we're trying to actually play to what it was actually like, this would not be an electrified route. There is Amtrak service over previous Northwestern Territory, like, for example, the Hiawatha service that runs from Chicago up to Milwaukee. But those are operated using the P42s. Now they have the Siemens chargers, which aren't quite available yet. We'll have to add those next episode. So we're going to de-electrify this to make it a little more realistic. Now, I have a cool asset here. These are called cabbage cars. So they look like locomotives, and they were F40s. But what they've done is they've stripped out the guts and turned them into cab cars, right? So the cars that you have at the end of passenger trains that give you basically a control cab, so you don't have to turn the train around, but also turn them into baggage cars. Now, here's the thing. They have a reverse one, but it doesn't actually let the train reverse. So I'm actually going to start building the train using the forward-facing cabbage car, which, see, now it'll allow it to drive backwards. And then we will use the ampletes because that's what they actually use. 106 seems about right. I'm going to go a little bit larger. For this, yeah, we'll go a little bit larger here. And then, you know what we'll have to do? We'll have to do this. We'll have to do the ones in reverse. Once we get the Siemens chargers, we'll fix this. It'll make a little bit more sense. And there we go. Okay, so let's get those all replaced, and then we'll go check and see how that looks in a minute. Now, we need to replace a few more. Yeah, like by 2014, they're done electrifying. They're not electrified anymore. And so we need to replace all of these with traditional diesel locomotives here. So let's go ahead and I don't think we have. Yeah, here we go. And they're running about 160. Remember, they run fish down and then take food up, so our reefers will be perfect for this. And then, let's see. Okay. Let's replace all of those. And then PSL tools, let's look at this one here. 200 capacity. So let's go ahead and get a new one on the line here. We don't need as powerful of an engine for this one. Okay, so that's good. Alright, Clearwater, Philly, Silver. Oh, okay, yeah, for sure. So let's go ahead and replace this. Let's go ahead and get... Do we have any? Yeah, we do. Okay. Get some of these online. Now, I don't think the Bethgons will take bars. Yeah, it'll take silver ore, but it won't take the bars. So we'll continue to use these. replace. And then let's take a look at this one. These have the capacity of 200. So we'll go ahead and replace. I think a single SD70 should more than suffice here. And we'll do our reefers again. And we got to get to 200. Okay, I'm cool with that. I think that's the last of the Conrail. I think everything else is good to go. Yep, that's looking pretty solid. Okay, so now, because of that, we can go ahead and de-electrify this line. We don't need it. And this will also be a fast way to make sure I actually replaced all of the old electrics, because it will yell at me very quickly. I don't even know why this was electrified to begin with, but it is what it is. Okay. All right. And I think we're good there. Okay, so we've got that going. You know what? Let's do this. Where are, because this is still a problem. Look at how much unclaimed. We need to ditch the gondolas. Okay. You know what? Nope. Calling a mulligan, to borrow from City Planner Plays, which is a great YouTube channel you should be watching. Let's do this here. We're going to do intermodal. That will make sure, yeah, that will make sure that we get everything we need here. Okay, 352 capacity, replace. Now, I am going to make sure, okay, where is this? Clearwater Branch. Okay, so the only thing you're doing here is loading silver. Clearwater Exchange. The only thing you're doing here is loading that and unloading that. And I don't care about Philadelphia because the rules for the other two stations will keep everything in check. Okay, so let's see. Do we have one of these near? Okay, that's not that close. This one is, okay. So let's see how that impacts things. Oh, you can see off to the left here, you can see one of the new trains running in reverse, which is super cool. Okay, so yeah, this is going to rapidly lower our excess supply. It's going to take a few trains to do it, but we're absolutely getting there, which is huge. And I think we have another one pretty close behind us. Let's run. Are we running this way? We're running this way. How full are we? pretty full. And look, that speed is great. You know, I did put one of the other things I did off camera was I put an Acela on. I'm not impressed by and the stock one's just it's way too expensive. You can see it's 2 million in the hole, even though the Keystone Corridor itself is 12 million in the black, which tells you how much of a money drain this is. But also, it's just not going that fast, right? I mean, that thing's going faster and it just got started. This thing's had some distance to accelerate and it's struggling to get above 100 miles an hour. I just don't think the stats in the game match up with what the actual Acela train set can do. I have one on there because it is kind of our version of the Northeast Corridor, but it's still problematic. Alright, so this is fired up. Alright, everything's looking good. We still have, we also, we got these upgraded trams, but man, they're full. Clearwater is popping. Okay, we're going to have to maybe address some of that in our, you know what, we're just going to do this. Right after these came out, we got another upgrade. We're just going to upgrade these to Cobras. And that will solve our problem. It'll take a little bit, but it'll solve our problem. Okay, so let's see what the traffic situation is here. We're doing okay. SEPTA's riding full. I've got a cab car for this too, so that's why you can see it running in reverse. That's a cool shot of the SEPTA leaving this way, and then the New Jersey Transit leaving that way. That's neat. In fact, I'm gonna do a print grab real fast. Okay, so cool picture later. Let's see how this line is doing. Holy crap, 622. And look at this. Look at how many trains we already have on the line. Okay, so we need to do. We're losing some money because I put these locos on either side, and candidly, I think that's overkill. So let's go ahead and reassess this. I don't think I have. Yeah, I don't have the latest, but we can still use the ALPs. That'll be fine. So we're going to start with that, and then here we go. Here's our New Jersey cars. I feel like that's the best iteration. We did 7. Okay, now I believe. Hold on a second. These cost 350 grand a year roughly for capacity 19, top speed 110 miles an hour. 10 for 28. I'm going to do some math here. So 525 for 28 passengers, about 18 grand a pop. The New Jersey car A. Okay, so it's fairly inconsequential. So I'm going to go ahead and actually upgrade these to the Comets, if for nothing else than the better loading speed. Okay, so we're going to replace them. These are fairly recent, so it's not going to cost us much to replace them, but I think it's going to help out quite a bit, because right now capacity is 133. We're going to up all of them to 168. Alright, so now we are boogieing, and that will help us pick some more folks up there. Because, yeah, Costa Mesa, whew. Okay, we're going to have to work on that. And again, we have plenty of trains on the line. I might introduce one more. especially now that we've just reduced the cost significantly. Because again, it was roughly the same cost per passenger for those cars. But I mean, we just saved an additional $2 million in maintenance a year. So I think we're gonna start making hand over fist with this train sector. And that's even picking up here with a decent amount. How's this doing? Doing well. Pretty much full. Okay. So the other route we need to check on here is this one. So SEPTA's doing pretty good. We're making money. This is a manageable number here. Oh, hello Memphis. That has exploded. So let's go ahead and let's get 4 trains on this line. 4 total, 2 more. And that should help us out with that. Now the Kate Shelley 400 is looking pretty dang full. So let's go ahead and upgrade all of these, because we're going from, let's see, this is about 5,000 kilowatts. This is still about 5,000 kilowatts, so what's the major difference? Oh, the tractive effort. Yeah, so way faster acceleration. So it's totally worth it, although, let's see, a million more, I'm fine with it. And how many passengers are we talking about here? 140? Okay. So let's make sure we're getting close to that here. And 147. So even though we're down to 1 locomotive from 2 on these, it's still going to work out pretty well, because again, the Siemens have such a better tractive effort that they're going to get off the block faster. So I'm totally cool with that. Okay. And I think, oh, and then let's go ahead and upgrade our Norfolk Southern routes. Let's see, nope, that's back into Northwestern Territory. Where are our Norfolk Southern routes? Okay, let's see, how are we looking on power? Pretty good. Probably don't need anything there. How are we looking on here? Probably the same thing. Okay, so we won't really throw the heavy Norfolk Southern power out until the next episode. When again, our goal here is, we're going to need to run a train from this sawmill and down. It's going to drop stuff off here. Although I guess we've got this one here. We can probably just do that locally, to be honest. But to get that here, we're going to need to get this steel mill online to serve both that and that. And then we're going to get the ethanol plant online that's near here as well. And that will give us the last of them that we need. So we'll do a quick time jump, see if our additional commuter rail has helped with this massive explosion of demand, and then we'll wrap up. Alright, as you can see, I forgot one other thing I did. I replaced the Hartford train station with a similar train station to the Philly asset. And you can see our diesel power trains. We need to get that Siemens charger. We're losing a lot of money now on the Peninsula 400 line. Oh, you know what? Let's go ahead and I didn't realize there were 2 more trains down there. Let's sell those. We don't need them. There we go. But you can see, we've got a pretty steady, there's still demand, but we're handling it. Now the good news is, we've got the problems on the Peninsula 400, but the Kate Shelley is just killing it. Super efficient, posting lots of profit. We're looking really good. We're back to having some traffic issues. That might be another thing that we have to address. But we've just kind of we might have just reached capacity here. Hartford is booming. It's at 3,300. Miramar is also booming at 3100. Miramar East, let's go ahead and upgrade these to the larger Cobras as well, because they're at capacity. And then, but again, station demand here is pretty reasonable. Here comes our new reefer train. Looking good there. Going along up here. Springfield also pushing, sitting at 2700, pretty healthy. We're still doing fine there in terms of production. Grand Prairie sitting at about 2000. Good demand here. Well, you know what? Let's do this real fast. All of these have, let's see here. Looks like 5 and 1 super. You know what? There's one other upgrade we got to do. And our P42s are now available, which are definitely used on these superliner runs. So let's go ahead and get these up there. And we're into phase 6. So 1, 2, get a panorama up there. 3 more coaches. Let's replace all those. Let's find one that's en route. Yep, so our P42s are now doing the legwork here, which is great. And again, this one losing money. The diesel efficiency is just not that great. If I were truly just playing to try and max out, man, that's high traffic too. If I was truly playing to max out profit, I would have stayed electric. It's just way easier to get efficient with that. Because like the Metro line, for example, we can probably sell one of these. It's operating, 146 out of 297. We can definitely scale that down. But then, Flint has hit 2,000, so it's grown. Billings, it's kind of stagnated. And it's just, there's a base population modifier that really, kind of impacts it. And Billings really has fairly limited connections to the outside world. Manchester has already passed it, right? Because they have way more connections. Sacramento, we're looking really good. So we only have, again, a handful left to do. We've got one city that's partially being met. St. Louis is at 1,200 with no supplies being met. This thing's going to absolutely take off once we start supplying it. And so, we are almost at the end of the line. It has been awesome doing this build. It's crazy to think about where we started versus where we are now. Oh yeah, that's the other thing we want to check on. We're doing a lot better here with this is much more control. Remember, this was sitting at like 600 when we last checked on it. How are we doing here? Yeah, look, I got rid of the Acela, and look at what's happened to our balance. It was just it was holding them down. And so that's it. I'm gonna close off by zooming in on the town where we got started, which is Hartford, and give you a nice shot of as this passenger train rolls out. You can see a number of the freight cars in the background, and that is it. So that was a good cleanup episode. We got quite a bit done. Still took a good amount of time, but now we're set. So make sure you like and subscribe to the video, and I will see you next time. Thanks, everybody.